Hello, everyone, and welcome to All Four Downs podcast. OV1, Frank C, Hector V. Look, it is down to the last week of the NFL. Supposedly, it is the last, but this comes with not so good events of what we had expected for Monday Night Football. And I know that a lot of media attention is happening over the Bills defensive guy Hamlin, who suffered a cardiac arrest in the game, and which left everybody in the stadium in shock. A lot of emotions that happened, and of course, we're not gonna like replay the video or even show pictures of any kind about the NFL. But the NFL did good by postponing, or maybe perhaps it's canceled. I don't know. But news came out this week that the NFL will not have these two teams play this week. It's still under normal schedule. More on that. It did say that a game will not resume this week, excuse me, and that the regular schedule will be that the Bills next year is to host the New England Patriots, and the Bengals are scheduled to host the Baltimore Ravens. Okay. Um, at least for the Baltimore Ravens and the Bengals, they're still fighting for that division spot, right? To see who's going to be the AFC North title winner. But the Buffalo Bills, you know, in this circumstances, right, this game had a lot of meaning because if the Bills would have won, they'd be number one seed right now because they'll be tied with the Chiefs. The Bills beat the Chiefs. But if Cincinnati would have won, okay, it'll have been a little step closer, if I'm not mistaken, to get to the Kansas City Chiefs, right? But with so many playoff scenarios, not just that, but everything else, it's sad to witness on television, really, the way things happen with Damar Hamlin. And I would like to hear you guys' input on that.
It was something very tragic, and what the NFL did, I think, was the right thing last night. You know, we have to literally think about life before anything else. You know,
Mhm.
with anything that we do in life. You know what I'm saying? And this was a situation where we really literally had to just tune out football altogether instantly and think about this young man's life. Look at he's only what 24, 25 years old.
Yeah.
Fresh into the NFL, and then for this to happen, you know, it's a tragic situation. And I mean, you think about all the different tragic things that happen in life, when we talk about 9/11, how everything was put on the back burner, you know what I'm saying? And we unite as one. Well, I think that's what we're doing here for this young man, and as fans of the games, as players, whatever, it's just so heart wrenching right now, and it's hard to put in words.
Oh, okay. So look, as fans, we're used to seeing players get hurt, take hits to the head. We're used to seeing that, correct? Hey, you broke a finger, you broke an arm. But what you're not used to seeing is what happened yesterday, where he made his tackle, he got up, and he dropped.
Yeah,
Right?
that was the scary part. Absolutely.
Okay, we're not used to seeing any of that. Nobody is. So now the fact that they stopped the game and is great. The fact that they postponed it, even better, because at the end of the day, guess what? We're still human. There's a human aspect in this. Even though as fans we see these guys go play in and out every single week, and we're fans of the player. Sometimes we see these individuals as more than humans, but at the end of the
Yeah, they're
day,
super athletes. Absolutely.
right? But
Hmm.
they're just like we are, pretty much. This guy went down and instantly, hey, let's go, come on, let's get him going. And it's just it's a life. It's There's a life involved. It's more than just football. and that kudos to everybody involved,
Hmm.
to react how they reacted.
I was very judgmental um after the fact, like the sit and wait part, right? And I'm just waiting. That situation happened, okay? And I don't know how the chain of command works in the NFL, or who is the people they have to contact and everything else. But as soon as that incident happened and the ambulance drove away, and they made a decision, hey, everybody go to their locker rooms and stuff like that. And that type of situation, you saw these guys very emotional. I would have just canceled it right away,
Well,
right? Um, no, hold on. And of course, eventually they did. Okay. And I know that the people at the booth, the Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, they only could say what they need to say. But I already looked when they started shaking their hands, hugging each other. They're outside the locker room. I said the game is over. They made that decision right there, right then and there, right? And I was like, that's what it means, you know. And then just to wait and wait and wait, but I was still a little bothered. Like, okay, a situation arises, and you keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. After a while, it was like, dude, after all, you don't have that much to say. You really don't. You're sitting waiting. You're like, look, well, here's a backup broadcast for you, and leave the ticker going, right? Leave the ticker going and be like, well, for furthermore, tune into Sports Center to find out what's going to happen. But it was too much of this, and people don't really care what you got to say at that point. We just want to know, is that player going to be okay? Yes or no?
It's almost like they were trying to find something to say, and they kept on repeating themselves over
Yeah.
and over and over and over. And it
And I
gets,
heard you. I
yeah,
heard you. I
yeah.
got you.
How many
You
times
know,
you can say the same thing? You know, how many times can you say it a different way?
and then it repeats the next day, when they recap what people said the day before. Like, I got it. We don't care. I just want to know, is that player going to be all right?
okay,
He's
but wait.
listed in critical condition. Okay. So give us an update. What's happening? I want to know because I saw it on TV.
Okay, but now let's flip it on this side a minute. I get your point, all right, and I understand that because they kept on repeating the same information over and over. Now they can't repeat any more information than what they have.
All
So,
right.
but what happens is this: you started watching the game from the very beginning, right? So you
No.
saw everything. Okay, well,
I
you
started right there and then when Hector was saying something about something happened in the game, I tune in and then I got to see the replay and everything else. And I'm like,
okay?
oh smack. And the first thing that came out of my mind was that former basketball player. Oh, y'all remember that college basketball player in
That
the 90s
collapsed.
that collapsed in the middle of the court and passed away?
I remember
And I
that.
was like, I can't believe. And that's why my chest was like hurting, right? Because I was like, I can't believe I just witnessed something like that. And I pray that doesn't happen. I hope that the end result is that he recovers, he gets healthy, and we figure out a way what really happened. Because that's another thing. Everyone is speculating, oh, it's because he got hit this way or that way. I want to hear the doctors go on record and say the reason why he suffered cardiac arrest was because of this.
Well,
Because you could still suffer cardiac arrest for any other thing.
I mean, from what I heard, it had a lot to do also with the heartbeat and the shot that he took because he took a hit. When you look at it, he took a hit right smack in the chest. And if your heartbeat is at a certain point,
Uh-huh.
it could happen. And that's what I heard is something of what
Yeah,
it
who
could have
said
been.
that though?
I
Who
don't
said
remember
that?
where I heard it. I
All right,
heard it
was
from
it a
one of the medical.
doctor? Was
It was a
was some
medical
medical
staff.
personnel?
It was a medical personnel.
Okay. And you know what?
You know,
Okay, maybe, but then like we've been playing the sport for so long, right? So many games is played, but this is the very first one that happened here, all right, at the beginning of 2023 that a guy is laid out in the middle field getting CPR.
Hey, look, maybe he has another underlying condition that nobody knows.
Exactly. That's exactly what I
You
told
know,
Hector earlier, and exactly what I said to everybody else. And it'd be like, don't they get physicals? Don't they do this? Listen, when they get a contract, they got to get a physical done so they can get that contract going. They're not going to sign somebody and be like, all right, now let's go. Every athlete that signs a big contract with that amount of money, right, got to get a physical and they got to pass the physical. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, what are the circumstances of the physical? I have no idea. I would assume they did do blood work and everything else because that's your health. You get a lot of blows. If you're talking about brain injuries and stuff like that, you want to check all of it. And if you get older, right, you want to check that your health is okay, right? I'm just saying. But I'm going to read a quote to you, and I want your honest judgment on this. Why do you take this quote? And this was Skip Bayless that said something on Twitter account. Okay. And if I could get up there and showed you, man, I'm already messing up here. Good Lord. I thought I had my presentation set and everything. I'm failing as a host. Hold on for a second. Here we go. Woo. All right. So Skip Bayless said, no doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game. But how? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. Now he received a lot of backlash of this tweet. And I'm asking you, does he really deserve this backlash?
When you first read it, he sounds super insensitive. Okay, but read it again and understand what he's saying. He's not saying, "Hey, let's get over the fact that this guy had cardiac arrest and said that he had a heart attack and let's move forward." No, he's not saying that. He's acknowledging that, hey, it's a big incident. It's a big issue. But could they suspend the game? The game does have to go on. It's pretty much what he's saying. Why stop the game? And I'll tell you, I think that the game should go on, not this week, maybe next week.
You
Once
don't
you
think
have
there
a
should be any football this week, is what you're saying?
no. There should be football this week. There should be football this week because at the end of the day, it's a tragic accident. What happened to this guy? Okay, you're
Right.
not so accidents happen in life, and we have to get over them and keep going forward. It's one thing at that moment, like
Mm.
with yesterday's game, right? Hey, it happened. It happened at that time. Let's just stop everything and let's stay here. But then you gotta come back to reality and back to life, you know,
Absolutely.
because and I'm gonna use an example. Let's say you have a family member that passes away, right? Your job gives you 3 4 days grievance, right? But guess what? You're back to work after that because if you don't go back to work, guess what? Goodbye. Whether you are
Depending on the job, depending, right?
right, but in most
Okay. All right,
cases,
I got you. I totally understand. Right. But in reference to this quote, you're saying that you didn't have a problem with this statement, is what you're saying.
no, I'm not because you just looking at it, you see where he says, "No doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's acknowledging it that hey, we got to postpone the game. Okay, then he's speaking his mind. But how are you going to postpone it? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant, meaning that the
Right. It
outcome doesn't
doesn't mean nothing.
matter.
Right.
So he's not being insensitive. You just got to sit there and break it down and understand what the man is saying.
So he later on said, nothing is more important than that young man's health. That was the point of my last tweet. I'm sorry if that was misunderstood, but his health is all that matters. Again, Everything else is irrelevant. I prayed for him, and it will continue to. And that's the end of his statement. And then after that, 12 hours ago or so, he was inviting everyone to his show, which again, I feel like sometimes you say tweets to grab, there's like certain words that grabs that attention. And even though at initially when you read it, it sounds so negative that you're trying to get people to get to your show so that way you can explain yourself, you know. And of course, I'm not a big fan of Skip Bayless. I don't watch Undisputed. Uh, pretty much I don't really watch anything on Fox when it comes to chat debates and stuff like that. You know, I'd rather listen to ESPN radio with Max and everybody else on that show because sometimes it is kind of funny. And I could relate to some of that stuff. Not so much on the other shows because they get really deep and sensitive about it. But look, all day today, I could imagine because I worked all day today. I can only imagine they kept on talking about this over and over and over again, on repeated record. And even when I got in my car, I tried to see or try to hear if there was any updated news. Check my phone if his condition got better, you know, stuff like that. Because the one thing I don't want to hear is the bad news. I really don't, you know. And you have to brace yourself because you never know what's going on in that hospital. But we only could do is pray and hope that the family and everybody else are together. And we're just hoping, we're extremely hoping that he recovers and that maybe, you know, of course, he's not going to play this year or maybe not next year, but eventually he'll come back stronger than ever and get back on the field to join the rest of his teammates.
You know, I just feel like as controversial as Skip Bayless is with his show, yesterday was not the time for him nor anyone to tweet. Okay. Anything. Because anything and everything was going to be taken out of content yesterday. Okay. You have a job, you report as seen fit. But don't go on, your job is not to go on the social media and just speak your own mind. And that's where things gets messed up at. If you know, everybody is emotional yesterday, from the fans to the commentators to the players to sports media, everybody. But everybody wants their voice heard and wants to jump on Twitter. Everything was all about the Twitter, not Facebook, not Instagram, nothing else but Twitter. And everybody wanted to be heard. You see, it's like to me, that was insensitive in itself because now everybody wants to be followed on a breaking story or something that they've said. You know, this is what I said. Come follow me and hear what I had to say and put all your likes on that. You know, and I didn't like that. You know, and whether or not Bayless meant, you know, good or bad out of it, it shouldn't have even been said anyway. It should have just been left alone. Okay, talk about it on the show like everybody else has been doing today because
Right.
not one person talked about any football today. Not one show that I've heard on radio today had talked about any kind of sports over the weekend. Okay.
No,
And
everything trumps.
yeah,
Everything trumps,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
And then at times it's like, all right, well, when is enough, you know? Because every show has to talk about the same thing over and over and over, and the length is like, okay, dude, you're saying the same thing like the other show said. Give me something new, okay?
Mhm.
But again, they got these specialists. They come on the show. They want to say what they want to say. Sometimes this could really happen. I just hope that it wasn't the tackle because the way the play went, it seemed like a normal routine that he grabbed him and like they both fell on the ground. You know, it was still a tackle. Yeah, the receiver went down. He grabbed him, but it's no different than a running back when he's already getting down so he can avoid getting tackled and try to get those extra yards, right? So when that happened, but he got up, maybe he got up too fast, you know, maybe he didn't, you know, make that self-assessment and like gather yourself up and then move slowly. You know, it's like us, right? All of a sudden, you know, we get up real quickly, then we feel a little bit dizzy. You know what I mean? Like, whoa, the room's spinning. Hold on, let me slow you roll. I mean, like I said, there's just so much. But again, cardiac arrest, CPR. I just hope it wasn't that hit. That it was some. I hope that everything tests positive. Let's put it that way. You know. But like everyone wants to make a prediction, this will happen. I just want to hear the doctors. That's all. I just want to hear the doctors say it. What happened, doc? Tell us what you found in your x-rays, your test results, and everything else. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear other people's opinion. I want the facts. That's it. Because it makes matters worse when everybody else is putting their opinions in and you're really not the subject matter expert that doctor is that's inside that operating room.
And we need to stop blaming T. Higgins. There was no flag on the play. There was no foul.
T. Higgins didn't do nothing wrong.
But people are going to try to go out there and blame him.
Well, they're a bunch of idiots.
Listen, Higgins did nothing wrong. Higgins, all he did was his regular football moves.
Yeah.
Okay, again, we go back to the same thing. It's called an accident for a reason. This is a freak accident.
Right. And watch this. You know who really feels bad? Is him. You know, he was like, oh, man, I'm the one that did this. Then you start second guessing yourself like, oh, my God, did I do this? Did I do that? Blah, 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 you know? And then even though people say, dude, it wasn't your fault. You did the right thing. But that consciousness and everything else, that guilt is in you because you was involved in that play. You know what I mean? And I could relate to something like that, right? I could relate to that. You know, you're not going to sleep well. You're nervous. You're walking around and you're only praying, please be alive. Please be okay. Please just get through with this and everything else because I want to talk to you. I want to hug you, you know, and do a lot of things. So if there's anything, someone needs to comfort Higgins, right? And give him that moral support. Give him that morale booster. Like, okay, it's gonna be all right. You know what I mean? And just let everything play out. And we hopefully that everything's gonna be positive at the end. And that's all, man. But I'm glad you pointed that out because man, that's just ridiculous, man. It's a game of football. It's like when people like. I think it was the one play that I saw live on TV was the Jets back in the 90s. They collided and one of them paralyzed, right?
Against the Kansas City Chiefs. I remember that.
There weren't any pointing fingers. It just an accident happened. Did somebody point fingers? No. You know, it's the nature of the sport and the way it's designed. You know what I mean? And these athletes are getting faster, they're quicker, they're stronger. Do they need to upgrade their gear? That's my next question.
Well, you just mentioned something, right? That they're faster. Do you know that the gear is also lighter than what it used to be?
Okay. Is it?
It is. It is.
Oh, why? So they could go faster because that mean less pressure on the legs?
Of course, less weight. Mm-hmm. You know, a regular Rydell helmet, right? Their standard one that they've had at least with youth football, right? Mm-hmm. Yo, they're heavy helmets for these kids. When I was coaching football, we would tell the kids, hey, when you're at home, wear your helmet, just get used to it because they're heavier. Now, other companies start coming out with other helmets. You know, as long as the helmet is certified,
right,
you could use it. There was lighter helmets where you grab one, oh wow, it's super light compared to the other, and you're like, oh my God. So, you know, and it's the same thing with pads. Then what happens? You have, you know, with the pads, you have players, and I've never seen it with the, you know, in the NFL because I've never made that level, obviously, but I saw younger kids that wanted to wear smaller pads so they can move more. You know, you have a quarterback that wants smaller pads. Why? He gets that rotation to throw the ball. So all that plays into this. Could it be that maybe he was wearing smaller pads? Who knows?
I don't know. Because then, and he, correct me, he's a cornerback, right?
I believe so.
Okay. But, I mean, that's something that they're going to investigate and find out more. I know it has to be. It has to be. The other good thing, Damar Hamlin's families are grateful for the support from the fans. I saw Sports Center this morning that the fans were going to come back to support him at the hospital. Stand out there with candles and stuff. Whether Mother Nature took over there, and that dispersed the crowd because it was heavily raining. And then also, the fans gave millions to Damar Hamlin's toy drive for kids. So he was averaging $25,000 and stuff like that, and then Chrisland went over $3 million. So that's again, it's a lot of support out there. The college basketball player that I was referring to was Eric Wilson Hank Gathers Jr. On March 4th, 1990, he played for Loyola Marymount Lions in the West Coast Conference. And in that game, in the middle of the basketball court, he collapsed and passed away. That was the first thing that came in my mind. Like, oh no, I don't want to see that happen to anyone. And that's why I'm praying. And I know a lot of people are praying. People around me here, they didn't see the game and read it on the news and be like, questioning, hey, did you hear any updates? So let's just hope that the next news that come out and be like, hey, he's getting better, he's recovering, still with his family, and he's able to fly back home. So, but hey, guys, I thank you guys very much for being on the show. I don't want to overdo it and everything on this. The next question I have, and we'll just change the subject real quick because I heard about this and then I wasn't sure because growing up watching football, I was raised to like one team, right? Follow one team. And on television, I always followed the New York Giants. So I became a fan. Okay. But can there be possibly to like two teams?
I say yes.
Well,
Okay, how so?
I mean, you could be a diehard fan of one team that you would not go against anybody else. Okay, we have that. But then there's that one other team that just seems to be intriguing, that catches your attention every time, that they don't draw you to become a big fan, but they bring interest into your sports. And I do. I honestly, I do. And it may sound crazy and maybe if people don't agree, but I have that for myself in every four of the major sports. I have my favorite team, but then I got that other team that I'm like, wow, you know what? You're interesting. I like you, but I don't like you enough to be a favorite team.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you can. You could have an AFC team and you could have an NFC team. Like, I'm obviously a diehard Dolphin fan.
Terrible Dolphin fan, but okay.
No. Just because the team's terrible. Just because the team's terrible.
No. I didn't say the team. I say a terrible Dolphin fan.
No. I love my Dolphins. All right. But, and now.
When, this year?
I always love my Dolphins. Okay. So.
I didn't hear this guy. They like football until this year.
Really?
No, I'm faking. Go ahead.
That's fair.
And then on the NFC side, believe it or not, I do like the Giants.
Of course, you're surrounded by Giants fans.
No. I mean, I could have told you it was the 49ers, right?
You know what? Listen, learning the game, there used to be only 6 divisions. You had the East, the Central, and the West. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and each one, I like the Giants, the Bears, and the 49ers. Okay. And then on the other side, okay, was the Jets. I'm trying to remember the other ones. Hell no. I didn't live near Miami, Florida, dude. I totally forgot who was the Central.
You don't live near the freaking.
But then also, I think it was the Raiders because there was a lot of Raiders fans in my hometown. Like the 70s was about Raiders, Steelers, and Cowboys. So the family that grew up, those were the 3. But I just decided that overall I'm a Giants fan, right? Learning the football, watching the blue. So that's what I got. But learning the statistics, and I don't know why, I was so amused of stats, which was baseball and football and basketball, learning how they got the percentage and figuring it out on my own. I don't know why I pick up that habit. But then I was like, I like this team, I like that team. And then of course, yeah, I like the jerseys. The jerseys was give it off, it's the fashion, but nobody was better than True Blue, nobody. My first Super Bowl was the Chicago Bears, right? The Super Bowl shuffle. You heard the music all the time. You try to do it yourself. So I was like, Bears, got it. You know what I mean? And then there was the most popular ones, but the Miami Dolphins. I wasn't around when the Miami Dolphins were undefeated, but there's a lot of family members. There's a lot of family members that I have that are Dolphin fans, and I'm surprised. It's like, dude, we live in Connecticut, but you're a Dolphin fan.
There's some people.
They're smart. That the only thing they could think about was 72, and they were babies during that time. So I don't want to hear that. Just like some people like the Broncos. I got a buddy like Broncos because he was a big John Elway fan. So my next question is, since I've been covering college football, and I've told you this, like I'm a Joe Burrow fan. I am a Jalen Hurts fan because I watched it from Alabama to Oklahoma, the way he developed, and now he is the hated rival Eagles. Can't stand them now. So I hope they lose. But anyways, that's another story, right? But the most intriguing one in college, because I love the story, was Joe Burrow. Because he started with Ohio State, then he transferred to LSU, and one season took him to the promised land, went undefeated, broke a lot of records, and him and Jamar Chase, because they were there. And then now they're with the Bengals, and I'm saying to myself, dude, these guys are legit, right? So every time I look at them, I'm always hoping that they win, and they win. And it was a slow start, but I'm hoping they could win. They could do something. So does that make me a Bengals fan?
No. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to bring you back to a conversation that you and I had many, many years ago.
Ooh.
Okay. Was it with you? No, actually, It wasn't with you. Sorry.
See, told you.
But did you? I'm not sure if it was with you or someone else. Okay.
But go ahead, remind me. Go ahead.
It was with LeBron James. I'm not sure if you like LeBron James or not. I don't remember.
I don't like LeBron. Well, listen. On television, I don't like LeBron James.
Okay, so
he might be the most decent man, but I'm looking at sports or sports as that sports figure in the game. No, I don't like LeBron James.
So the conversation wasn't with you; it was someone else. So
thank you.
My conversation with this individual, okay, because he was like, "I like LeBron James." I was like, "Oh, okay, so you're hoping for LeBron to win?" And this is when LeBron James was in Miami. So I go to him. I said, "So you're a Miami fan?" He's like, "No, I'm not a Miami fan. I'm a LeBron James fan."
Mm-hmm.
So he's not a Miami fan. And in your case, you're a Joe Burrow fan. Do you want him to win? Yes. Do you want him to do good? Yes. Does it make you a fan of the team? Because you know what? You're not buying the team's gear.
No, I have not bought the team's gear.
You might buy his college jersey before you buy his NFL jersey.
No, I have a different perspective on jerseys. I'll tell you later. Go ahead.
But does it make you a fan of that team? No, it does not. It makes you a fan of the player.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Totally understand. Okay.
Yeah.
But I like more than one player. So does that mean I like the Bengals?
No.
Okay.
It's the players. It's not the team.
Gotcha. So I tell you this. I believe that you're correct because at the beginning of the season, I didn't pick the Cincinnati Bengals to make it to the Super Bowl. I picked the Buffalo Bills along with Hector, right? And then I didn't know that Tampa Bay was going to stink it up like they did, you know. And then I didn't know the Rams was going to like sunk ship, okay? and be second to the Chargers. I didn't see that coming, you know. But I gotta say that you're right, because even though I pick other teams other than the Bengals, you know, I mean, I could have picked my New York Giants every year. Of course, I'm gonna root for them all the time, but realistically, common sense be like they're not in that level to make it to the Super Bowl, right? And that's just being unbiased. So, okay, I like your point, but the other point you said was about jerseys. I never bought a jersey from the Bengals. The only reason why I don't buy jerseys of other teams or players and stuff like that, because they always bounce. There's no loyalty. Maybe not Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is going to be a Bengals for life. I don't see that guy going to. Well, then again, anything can happen because Tom Brady left the Patriots to the Bucks, right? But what I've done is I get mine customized. So this is an authentic New York Giants jersey, and in the back. Let me get around here. You see it?
Nope, your microphone's in the way. That was great. You gotta move up a little bit more. We can't really make it out.
Good Lord. Anyways, I have my name on the back of my jersey with the year that I was born. So I'm a dedicated, true fan of the New York Giants.
Since
Okay.
1977.
That's right.
Wow.
So I don't like buying jersey like let's say Saquon Barkley. He's a star of the New York Giants, but was not to say that next year he goes to a different team. You know, then I wasted money on buying this jersey and he with another team. It's just I don't like it, and I started doing that because of baseball.
I think the NFL now has like a buyback with the jerseys.
You know, the Patriots did that. The Patriots did that with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, not Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, but I think the NFL now does that also. So if you buy a jersey this year and the player leaves the next year, if I'm not mistaken, I think you could buy it back.
So does that mean that I could turn in my jersey if I switch teams?
Oh
not
no,
not that piece of garbage.
Ah, there you go. Who's number 34?
Ricky Williams.
Oh, that's so terrible. He ain't do crap for your team.
Yo, dude, he smoked a lot of weed for our team. What are you talking about?
That's the only dedication he had. That's the only smoke you saw on the football field.
didn't he almost marry Mike Dicker in New Orleans?
Something like that.
Oh man. Oh.
Yeah.
All right, man. All right. It's good talk, man. Anyhow, I got to acknowledge Hector V for winning the NFL picks this season. Congratulations. We both agreed that we're not going to continue doing our picks for week 18 because we're still like hurt on what we saw on television. And I think it's fair that, hey, well, let's stop it here because it kind of like drifted everything. And we don't even know exactly what's going to happen in the NFL from now in the near future, right? Will the Bills and the Bengals play again this season? We don't know yet. We just know that this weekend, as of now, everything's still on regular schedule. It's week 18, the last week of the NFL regular season before we go ahead into the playoffs. And yeah, the Bengals and the Bills, they got a lot to play for because the fact is it's all about seeding, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But let's see what the owners of the NFL and the NFL Players Association have to say about that and see where they come to terms. If the season was to end right now, I would award the Buffalo Bills the number 1 seed because they beaten the Kansas City Chiefs. That's just my opinion. The Bengals, I mean, they're still a game behind, right? Even if they would have won, they still would have been behind the Chiefs. So either or, they still would have had a home field advantage just a little bit, right? Until we get to the the AFC Championship. So you don't never know what's going to happen there. But I hope that they resolve this. And if they have to extend it for another week, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, if they have to, they can because they have that extra week. They got a time between the championship game and the Super Bowl. They got all that week. They got time between to fix what they need to. So yeah,
Absolutely. And they got big money, man. They got a lot of money. You know, they could afford making some changes. They're okay.
I mean
They're
we've
okay.
we've done it before in the past where we didn't have a break between the championship game and the Super Bowl. It was a week right after we went
Hmm.
into it and played it just fine. So we could do it again if we have to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, but well, let's see what happens here in the near future. And once again, you're listening to All Four Downs on the CMG Sports YouTube channel. If you're on, follow me on YouTube and try to make some comments. You're more likely we're better off to go on the YouTube channel and leave your comments there. But other than that, college football, the Georgia Bulldogs pulled it out and defeated Ohio State, in
Mm.
which I had a lot of doubts, bro. I had a lot of doubts. I text my boy, who's a Ohio State fan, and he told me just like Hector told me on the text, there's still plenty of time. But man, that time was a small margin, and they pulled it off on the 12 o'clock hour. Touchdown, Georgia Bulldogs, and winning by 1 point, which killed my DraftKings. Both games.
It took
TCU
Ohio,
upsets Michigan. The spread did not even match the game.
yeah, it took the Buckeyes to miss that field goal. Man,
And the total points is the two top semifinal games in college football history.
yeah.
That is
Oh,
insane. It left you at the edge of your seat on both those games. Now, I'm just wondering if the college football playoff, the national championship, will be the same way.
I hope so, because if not, if I have to get up after the first quarter because this is a bonk game, I'm going to bed.
I tell you what, if Georgia's up by 2 touchdowns, they won't be like USC and just spoil it at the end. It's just not happening.
Now, if TCU's up by 2 touchdowns, you can call it a wrap.
If TCU's up by 2 touchdowns, I doubt it.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. And as a matter of fact, Kirby Smart is probably just tearing asses out the defensive backs for the way they played the game. They were straight up garbage. I think he took that game as a loss instead of a victory. And we're like, look, you got one more game. You better shine. That's it. But at the same time, this is as far as I thought Georgia was going to go, honestly, because they lost so many people to the NFL, and yet they're still in the national championship.
Well, that people need to start putting respect behind the Big 12's name now.
Why? Because of 1 year?
It doesn't matter.
It
doesn't
matters,
matter.
baby.
No, it
I
doesn't.
tell you what, you know
doesn't
what the respect comes when these other schools start transferring to the new conferences beginning next school season. You know, you got USC, UCLA going to the Big 10, right? If I'm not mistaken, Cincinnati's going to the Big 12, right? And
Yeah.
BYU.
And
And I think
and
there's another
UCF,
one.
UCF,
Huh? And UCF.
and Houston.
So they're gonna have what's that?
We'll have
they're gonna
12. We'll have 12 teams after Texas.
So
and
they're
Oklahoma.
officially gonna have 12 teams in the Big 12 now. The name has its meaning.
Yep.
All right. You know
I
who
don't-
doesn't have meaning is
Big
the
Ten.
Big 10.
The Big 10. Yep.
They don't have 10 teams.
But
They
the
have
reason
more.
I say that is because the Big 12 doesn't get respect as a Power 5. With TCU in the national championship, they got to start putting respect behind the Big 12. I know they had a terrible season, but TCU has been representing. And even though they did not win the Big 12 title, they are still in the title game.
I mean, it's happened. I mean, Georgia didn't win the SEC championship and won the national title
But the SEC always
So-
gives respect as a top conference
because they really are.
because of Alabama.
And
Because
Georgia,
No, not Georgia.
LSU.
No.
They got the best dude. You gotta admit it, man. Stop hating.
They got
The
the
SEC
best
is the best conference.
because of Alabama. It's
No, it's not because Alabama. Is Alabama in the championship right now?
LSU, Alabama, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Alabama, Georgia, Alabama.
Where's Alabama now? Watching the television and watching the Bulldogs winning back-to-back national champions. That's what's gonna happen.
Keep counting your frogs, you're gonna get licked by a toad. The horn frog. Ribbit. Watch out.
And that's a wrap.
Do you want to get away? Tune in to All Four Downs next week as we covered. Actually, at the end of this week, man, we're gonna make our predictions. So I got Joel Guard coming in and everything else. So stay tuned to CMG Sports. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget, please don't forget, support us all the way. I appreciate all the fans, all our subscribers. Let's keep it coming. Thank you for watching. Take care, everyone. Have a good night.